Hello, everyone, and welcome to another Strata Circle session. My name is Narendra. I'm part of the strategy team at Strata. And today we have a very interesting topic. We will be discussing equity investing, the ways in which technology has changed the landscape. We will also dig a little deeper into the concept of thematic investing. And finally, we will discuss how Smallcase, the platform, can actually help you invest in such ideas. To discuss all this, I have with me Rakesh Rathod. He is a chartered accountant and he has over 23 years of experience in the financial services industry. He is also a registered investment advisor. Rakesh, thank you so much for joining us today. Pleasure to have you here. Um, Before we begin, maybe I'll just give you guys a very brief understanding of why we are doing this session. So if you've noticed, the way equity investing is done in India has changed substantially in the last 30 odd years. I remember, well, I don't remember. My father told me back in the 90s, when someone had to invest, it was all fully physical. You would make a phone call to your broker, and they are the ones who are actually making an investment. And from those dark ages, we are now at a stage where you take your phone, you press a button, and there you go, you've invested. And you press another button and done, you've sold your share as well. Now, but what has happened is, with the ease of this access, there is a lot of noise as well. Sometimes it can get very confusing about exactly where you want to invest, and when is the right time to buy, when is the right time to sell. And most of us are not full-time investors, right? We all have our own regular day jobs, and it can get confusing and it can get difficult. um, those are some of the things that we wanted to cover on today. And there is also an additional topic that has been popular for a few years but is increasingly becoming more prominent, and that is the idea of thematic investing. uh, I will let Rakesh dwell deeper into that, but that's what we are here to discuss. And so, without further ado, I'll hand it over to you, Rakesh. Please take it up. Thank you.
Hey, great. Thanks a lot, Narendra, for this wonderful opportunity and allowing me to interact with so many investors of yours. I think your investors are already ahead of the curve when I got to know that they have invested in a futuristic asset like fractional real
Yes.
estate. Now that right. So this is really interesting, and I could very well gauge the quality or the nature of people who are on the call today. So just taking a step back and maybe adding to something what you just said. So of course, I can relate to all that what you just said because I started my equity investing journey as a student way back in 92.
Wow.
So I've definitely been part of that tunnel of dark ages, what you just said about physical certificates and all that. Of course, we have come a long way from technology point of view, but I think more important than that is I think we have come a long way from the mindset point of view as well. From a stage where stock market was always considered to be a satta, a jua, a gamble, to an
Hmm.
age where we are talking about now long-term investing, wealth creation. We are reading Warren Buffett's and all that, right? So I think that journey is more important for me. Of course, then everything follows, right? Once there is a reception of a particular thing, everything falls in place. There is an ecosystem which gets created around it and all that. And I don't think equity is any different. Just taking a step back and what I consider this audience, right? That equity is something which most of us already understand, but I think it's the nature of relationship what one has to build with
All right.
equity that matters a lot, right? Again, from a relationship of buying something to sell at a higher price relationship to a relationship where we say, okay, I want to invest in this business. I want to be part of this business. I want to be a owner of this business, right? I
Hmm.
think a lot of things changes the moment you change that relationship with that asset. Now, that is where the whole challenge is, right? So technology, as you rightly said, it's one click, two click, here you go buy, one click, two click, here you go sell. But there is so much in between that two actions which one has to conquer over a period of time. And I think everybody will have to go through their own journey. They will have their own stories, and we will all learn from our past mistakes. There is nothing called that everyone will do everything right, including me. Of course, I can always learn from others mistakes. I can always read more to ensure that I don't commit those same mistakes. But again, there will always be a new set of things which will come my way, and that is something which I will have to live with it.
Yeah.
Another point which I want to touch before I get into why equity kind of thing, I think it's more about to do with ourselves than even talking about anything other, right? It's about how we react to a situation that makes or breaks the situation, right? The situation is there for everyone, right?
Yeah.
So if there is a fire, it's a fire for you, it's a fire for me. Now, how you react to that fire will define that after 10 minutes of that fire, how are you and how am I, right? There is somebody who will just jump from the building and say, okay, let me save myself and just jump off the window. And there would be somebody who will say, okay, let me wait for the fire brigade. Now, it
Yeah.
all depends how much you know about your condition कि बॉस वो फायर ब्रिगेड 1 घंटे में आएगा कि 10 मिनट में आएगा, right?
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think behavior is something which is too underrated when we talk about equity investing, and that is something which everybody will have to develop over a period of time based on their own experiences. So, with that in context, just wanted to touch upon the whole idea of investing into equities. That why equity investing is a foundation of any investment plan, right? Of course, there are a lot of investment opportunities, and one should keep on exploring all the available investment opportunities. But somewhere I strongly feel, and of course, with a disclaimer that I'm biased, been in the industry for the last 23 years only into equities. So please pardon me for that bias. But yes, I strongly believe that equity investing is the foundation of any investment plan. You can always have a lot of other opportunities, but yeah, this is where the crux is. Now, why I say so, right? Now, the first thing what equity gives us, right, is the possibility or the opportunity of wealth creation, right? Now let's take an example, right? If you buy something, say, I'll give you a very recent example of myself, right? So I recently say plan to buy a house in Bombay. Now the house would have cost like say 3 crore rupees. Now this is
Yeah.
a very personal story which I thought to share because the idea here is to relate to those situations rather than just creating any theoretical situations, right? Now there were two options. One, can I visualize myself saying that, okay, I bought this house at 3 crore and this is purely for my staying purpose, not for investing? Can I visualize saying that this house can become a house worth 30 crore in 10 years, a house worth 300 crores in 20 years, and house worth 3,000 crore in 30 years? I can't even imagine, right? I can't
Yeah.
even visualize, forget imagine. Now, that was the point where I thought, okay, boss, what is the trade-off I should do? Now, there was another investment which I had, say, again, this is a theoretical, say 3 crore. Now, I sold all my investments and bought that house.
Yeah.
But I thought to myself, okay, here there is zero possibility, at least according to me, that this house will be worth 3,000 crore.
Right.
Now, there is another situation where I have the stocks, where I have investments in equities. Of course, subject to a lot of other things. We are just sticking to those numbers right now. Can this 3 crore become 30 crore in 10 years? The answer is yes.
Yeah.
Can this 3 crore become 300 in 20 years? The answer is yes. And can this 3 crore become 3,000 crores in 30 years? The answer is yes. Now, one may argue, okay, boss, this is all dreamy. Let's talk about it in a much better way. Let's say, even if all this goes wrong to the extent of 80%, right? Still, you are at a figure which you can still visualize, right? 3,000 का 80% आप निकाल दो तो भी 600 करोड़ होता है.
Yeah.
Right? 600
We
करोड़
still make we still make probably more
600 का आधा भी कर दो
yeah.
तो भी 300 होता है, right? So for me, it was all about probability. Again, I'm not saying that this will happen, but to live with that probability itself is such a great feeling, right? You feel liberated. Plus, you have an opportunity, you have an options to take a home loan and all that at a much cheaper rate. Again, I'm not recommending that one should do this and all that. It was about my financial situation that I decided. But the point what I'm trying to make here is that this is the kind of journey what people have gone through in equities in the past 50 years, 100 years kind of thing. And I don't think it will be anything different even in future. It will be much better, if not less, right?
Yeah.
So for me, the first thing definitely it's the probability, it's the potential of high returns that keeps me invested in equity and that opportunity of wealth creation. Now coming to the very specifics, that how easy or how difficult it is to execute, how convenient it is to buy those assets, right? So the idea was very simple here, that equity is one such asset class. Again, this is a very underrated thing, which you rightly mentioned. With a single click, you can buy. With a
Yeah.
single click, you can sell. Can you tell me even one asset class, right? Other than equities, of course, there would be a lot of asset class, but with this simplicity that you can buy stocks worth of 100 crores with a single click, right? आप 100 करोड़ का प्रॉपर्टी बेचने जाओ बॉस, 2 दिन लगेगा, 4 दिन लगेगा इन द बेस्ट केस सिनेरियो भी, राइट? You will
Yeah.
not be able to say, boss, in the next 2 minutes, I want to sell this, right? So any asset class, it will have its own nuances. I think equity has covered that journey of getting that right, that liquidity is there. I think
Yep.
there is a
Yep.
price to that. There is a price to that, because every time when we want money immediately, you pay a price, right? बॉस अभी का भी चाहिए तो इतना कम मिलेगा, और अभी का भी खरीदना है तो इतना ज्यादा लगेगा. But I think equity treats everybody equally. It doesn't distinguishes between anybody who wants the money urgently or who wants the money after 10 days. I think liquidity is the heart of equity. And historically, there was a reason for this liquidity, because all the corporates wanted long-term capital, which will be invested in plant machinery and all the facilities or the infrastructure of the company, which will never come back. And that is where a stock market was formed, to ensure that the investors get liquidity, investors get their money back whenever they want, instead of asking the company to give the money back. Now, company will never be able to give that money back. Of course, you can keep on changing the partners or shareholders and all that. So this is very, very important for me personally. Another important thing now, as we speak, the way things are getting explode, right? Even within equities, there's so much innovation happening, right? Earlier, it was all about investing in, say, Indian companies. Earlier, it was all about investing in, say, large companies. There were a lot of SMEs and all that, or a lot of small companies who never even dared to think that they will one day get listed, right? There were so many great companies around us whom, like, we were using crazily as a customer, and we always thought, yaar, iska share kyun nahi hai market mein, right? But today we see all those shares all around us. It's so convenient for us to participate in that journey as a customer and as an investor as well,
For
right?
sure. For sure.
I think this is something really radical which is happening, at least in the last 10 years, where a lot of legal, lot of compliance, lot of regulations have opened up to this idea of having new age companies also on the bourses. The regulations have opened up for SMEs as well. The regulations have opened up for small angel funds and all that as well. So the opportunities are immense. It all depends on your own risk appetite. It all depends on your own horizon, and other things, of course, which are very, very personal. So right now, whatever I'm saying, it's a very equity specific information. But at the end of the day, we have to consider that this is a very personal choice, which we have to dive in depending on our own expectations, our own risk appetite, and all that. So diversification is not only across big companies, small companies. I think diversification is across so many sectors earlier which were unheard of, right? There are so many new age sectors which has come up, which were never around us, right? So be it like green energy as a sector, right? Suddenly we are all talking about, because we have started using it first and then it became a sector to invest, right?
Yeah, I completely agree with you there. I mean, if you look at the kind of opportunities that are now available for investors, and I mean, everyone here is a strata investor, so you can, which is of course something that has only been possible in the last 10 years.
Yes.
Quite frankly, if we had started this way back in 2000, I don't know how far we would have been able to do this. So I'm with you there. Whether it is platforms like Strata for real estate, or whether it is invoice discounting, or
Yes.
invoice discounting or asset financing. In fact, there is even a startup that lets you invest in green assets. That's all they do. If you, let's say you wanted to invest specifically in a water purification system, or if you want to specifically invest in a building that allows you to that is green, that has a LEED platinum designation or something like that, there are platforms for that. And it is honestly something that even us at Strata, that we do look at.
Yeah.
So it's fascinating. And even in the equity space, like you mentioned, right, I think there is a very specific stock. It's one of the few companies that runs desalinations in the country, and I think that stock is up by like 100 200% in the last couple of years. So definitely, we've seen this happen.
Yeah. So, on the diversification piece, another one more thing which I wanted to add, and this is again very interesting. Now you can travel all the geographies from the investing point of view. Earlier, it was restricted only to Indian investing, right? Now, because of the technology thing, a lot of things have opened up. Now you can invest in US. Now you can invest in Singapore, depending on where you want to invest. All those challenges are not there anymore, kind of thing. So it's a good thing that you have that access. Sitting here in India, you can invest in Amazon, you can invest in, say, Nvidia, you can invest in Netflix, Twitter, whatever you want to, right? Earlier, which was not the case. So I think for me, it's very important that how easy it is to access, how easy it is to liquidate. These are the two things. Now comes the most important part, of course, where to invest, how to invest, and all that. And one more thing, I think, just to stress upon that point again, whoever plans to do equity investing, let's make it this as a core belief of our that we are investing in a business. We are not buying a share to watch the ticker in the next 1 minute to say, okay, boss, after I buy, the stock has to go up, right? Or after I sell, the stock has to go down. If
I
that,
think that's yeah,
yeah,
yeah. I'm not sure how many of us do follow that though, because I'll be honest, there are times when even I, invest in a share because I'm in it for the short term. I know there's something that's happening and it's going to go up for some time. I don't really think about the business, but I see what you're saying, right? Real money is made when you believe in a business, you believe in the idea.
nothing wrong in the trading part of it. Rather, it's
Mm,
always that consciousness. You should have that whatever action you are taking, it's with that conscious thing that you know, okay, this is my trading allocation, this is my
mhm.
investing allocation. Till the time you are clear what exactly you are doing, that's perfectly fine, because you have all sort of players, right? You need
Yeah.
traders in the market, you need investors in the market, but it shouldn't happen that you buy something to trade and you become an investor, right? And you buy something genuinely to invest for the next 10 years, 20 years, but just because it has gone up by 20%, you just sell it like a trader.
Mm,
Right? Now that is where that whole evolution of an investor happens, and which is, I said, everybody will have their own journey and mistakes to realize it later that how wrong or right they were. And there will be a point in time, over a period of time, that they will select the right path. And there is nothing right or wrong, by the way. When I say right path, it's to each his own. So for me, the right path could be investing. For you, the right path could be trading. That's
mm,
perfectly fine till the time you are aware of what you are doing. That is more important rather than going the opposite way, which you never intended to in the first place. So this is all about equity. When I make a case for equity, why equity, right?
right.
And of course, I don't have to mention those standard reasons like, okay, it's a hedge against inflation and you get a lot of income generation through dividends as well and all that, because that's not precisely the reason to take ownership in a business. The whole idea of taking a stake in the business is to let your money work for you. So I'm sure a lot of you are already in the businesses of your own, right? And your business may require a lot of capital. So if you strongly feel that your business requires capital, I think the best business to invest is in your own business.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody knows
For
your
sure.
business better than you, right? So why to buy somebody else's share when you can buy your own stake, right? But having said that, there are a lot of businesses which are so settled and so running so much efficiently in an autopilot mode that it keeps on throwing cash. Now, this is, I'm talking for the investors of Strata, right? There are
Mm-hmm.
so many businessmen where they have this genuine problem कि boss ये पैसे का करना क्या है?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Because their business doesn't require any more money. It just keeps on throwing cash because of the great efficiency or the great brand or the great product. Now, that is where you can invest in some other interesting businesses, right? And because you come from a business background, definitely that relationship with that business will be much, much more effective for you as well. With your understanding of your industry, of your sector, you will definitely have a lot of edges also when you invest in other businesses. So, like for example, if you invest in a company, you can be either a supplier to a company, you can be either vendor to a company, you can be a banker to the company, right? So there are so many different channels which converge when you invest in a company, and that kind of intel you get as a businessman as well. I
Mm-hmm.
think that is the core of investing, that how you invest in equity with that research in place and all that.
Right.
So this is what I have to share. Again, nothing taking away the fact, Narendra, that there are so many other interesting opportunities besides equity, because it's very important that you cannot put all your eggs in one basket, right? So
Definitely,
asset
definitely.
allocation is the key. All assets will never play in the same direction at the same time. So you as an investor will have to design your investment plan. You will have to design your asset allocation and stick to it, review it regularly, and ensure that you are around your decided asset allocations in that particular asset. You cannot be like 100% in the right asset every time, right? So you will have to invest in gold, you will have to invest in real estate, you will have to invest in equities and many other asset classes like that.
For sure. Before we jump into thematic investing, and I want to move to that quickly, because we do want to share that and then specifically talk about small case. I think you hit the nail about diversification, right? Because even at Strata, we know that we are only a part of our clients' portfolios, and we want it to be that because ultimately, while commercial real estate is a very good long-term investment opportunity, it's one of the few things, honestly, that I know that gives you a regular rental yield and can build wealth over a long period of time. But like you said, every asset class has its ups and downs, and we know our investors portfolio is more than just us. In fact, I'm pretty sure almost everyone here is invested in the equity markets, either in shares or through at least mutual funds, and I'm sure there are even some PMS and AIF customers here. But of course, most of us are either in business or are working in senior roles in corporates, and so investing by ourselves becomes difficult. And I think that is why one of the things that simplify is this idea, or at least helps us, solidify our thesis on a certain topic, is thematic investing.
Sure.
There are pros and cons to it, but I leave it to you to share that.
Yeah.
But with that, I would love to hear more
Yeah.
on thematic investing.
Sure. So before that, Narendra, I'll just touch upon maybe in another 2-3 minutes the role of technology, which I
Sure,
just wanted
sure.
to describe. So there are various uses of the technology which is available around us to help you in investing in whatever asset class you want, of course. So the first, I think the best use of technology, what one should do is to use it for your research and analysis. There are so many online research tools, there are screeners, there are news apps, whatever you want, it's in your mobile, right? I think one should use it and take it in its stride, that how efficiently you can use technology for research and analysis. I'm just trying to give 4 or 5 use cases of the technology which are on top of my mind. Second, just have a good online brokerage account, right? Just ensure that you have an online brokerage account with a reputable platform, with competitive fees, user interface friendly, and of course access to wide range of uh, options kind of thing in terms of features. So this is very, very important. Then only you will be able to leverage on this technology piece. And today, all the reputed brokers, they are available on mobile apps as well. Lastly, very, very important, I think there is a lot of automation which can be done via technology, a lot of alerts which can be set so that you don't have to worry what's happening in the market. There will always be that automations, alerts, which will be coming your way. And of course, based on those alerts, you can always do the actionables on that particular asset classes. And lastly, very, very important, just an extension of research. There are a lot of educational resources as well. You can keep on uplearning, upskilling yourself, because investing is something, the learning never stops, right? Every day there will be a new challenge which will be thrown at you, and every time it will be told this time it's different kind of thing.
Yeah.
So it is actually every time it's different, but the only thing which is not different is our reaction to that situation. That's the whole problem, right? If it is different, even our reaction should be different, but the problem is that we react the same way what we reacted in 2008, what we reacted in 2002,
Right.
right? And with this uplearning, upskilling, I think our reactions, our behavior can be much more muted, much more mature kind of thing. So keep yourself occupied with regular reading, whatever you may like. So investing is not only about reading finance books. Investing is everything. You may read psychology books, you may read history, you may read biology, right? Now one may ask, boss, how does that help? Trust me when I say this, because when you are coming across opportunities, companies, the psychology will be helping you to understand the psychology of the management, the psychology of the customers. If you are reading some history, you will understand that, was if a similar situation comes up here, what has happened in the history in some other part of the world. Now if you are aware of that history, at least you will be in a much better position to take those decisions compared to somebody who has not read, right? So I think that is very, very important. So technology is something which has to be on our side forever, especially when it comes to investing. So this is what I wanted to share, Narendra. And now, yes, if you may allow, like I may share a short presentation
Yeah, please
uh,
do. Yeah.
on the thematic part, and before that, I will just share the context as well.
Hmm.
So just a minute, yeah. Is the screen visible?
Yeah, we can see it.
Okay. So just excuse me for that August 23. I was not able to edit it because it was a PDF. So last moment thing. But yeah. So before I start this, right? So there is this simple perception, right? Whoever invests in stock markets loses money, right? This is the like blanket perception, right? From a lot of movies. Because what happened? Okay, he lost all money in stock market. Now nobody deep dives into the detailing part of it because that's not their agenda, right? That's a entertainment. But I think in real life, one need to go deep dive that why somebody loses money in stock markets, right? Now, the whole problem in stock market is everybody wants to buy the next big stock. The first question on the morning walk, if you are part of that community, was which stock to buy, right? Nobody tells how to create wealth. Nobody tells कि क्या करना है, कुछ नहीं. Nobody wants to get into those philosophical discussions. Straight to the point, which is the next hot stock. Now, that is where the real problem is. And that is how we started Small Case way back in 2015 with a simple problem statement, why investors lose money. And when we did more research around that problem, we realized and we flipped it. In fact, we flipped the problem the other way around and just tried to see who are making money in the first place and why they make money. And that is where we realize that they are making money because they invest in portfolios and not stocks, right? Now, and when I say they are making money, they are so-called all smart investors, they are institutional investors, super HNIs, family offices. Now, it's so counterintuitive, right? On one hand, you say they are smart investors. If they're so smart, why they have to buy so many stocks? They can just buy one stock because they are so smart. They can identify, but they are so smart to understand that they can identify, right? And that is where they will always invest in portfolios. And over a period of time, they make consistent money. The whole problem with buying stocks is you are so focused on one stock that you lose sight of the larger picture. You lose sight of what's happening around you. You just feel that, boss, I have bought this stock, this should go up. It doesn't work that way, right? Market doesn't care whether you have bought or sold. Market just looks at the stock and do whatever it wants to. And market is smart enough to take into consideration everything, all the news, bad news, good news. So even if one person knows something about the company, technically the whole world knows because that one person is already trading on that news in the market, right? And that is why people say that price includes everything. Price has all the news in it, right? Market knows everything. So coming back to that portfolio thing. So the idea was here, can we create an experience? Okay. Now, sorry, just I missed one part on the stock, that how funny it is if you end up buying stocks, the market has its own way of ensuring that you get all the wrong stocks in your portfolio because they are the talk of the town, they are the hot discussion, and you feel that you have got a tip. You have not got a tip, you have been given a tip, right? So you talk to any retail investor and they will have Yes Bank in their portfolio, they will have Vodafone in their portfolio, they will have Divan Housing in their portfolio. At one point of time, maybe it's true even now, it's a maybe a lot of WhatsApp forwards and all that. The number of FD holders are much lesser than the shareholders of Yes Bank. There are 50 lakh shareholders in Yes Bank,
There
right?
are more
More
shareholders of Yes Bank than there are
FD
deposit
holders.
holders in
Yes.
Yes Bank. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you check all the good companies, be it HDFC Bank or some other banks, they might be having like 15 lakh shareholders, 20 lakh shareholders, 18 lakh shareholders, and the bank is like 10, 20 times the size of Yes Bank. Now, that is the problem of buying a stock because people want to get things very quickly. They end up buying all this kind of stocks. Now, that is where the whole idea of portfolio came up at Small Case, that can we create an experience sticking to the experience of buying a stock, but buying a portfolio, right? And that is where technology is playing an amazing role for us. So what we created is we started creating portfolios based on some interesting themes which were playing around us, with which people were able to relate, right? And we started this company way back in 2016. And it was very initial days of the new government led by Mr. Modi. And there were a lot of new initiatives which were being taken by that government, at least at the foundation level. We thought, why not to create some portfolios around those themes, right? And that is how the whole journey started. And it was so convenient for people to say, so in your earlier example, right, Narendra, you spoke about that green energy thing. Now, on one hand, you told that you can invest in the actual infrastructure or the asset of that green energy.
Correct.
Now, not everybody is technically sound enough to understand that infrastructure, right? Now, that is where the layer of companies come in between, that there are professionals, there are companies who are investing heavily in infrastructure of green energy. Can I invest in that company instead, right? Rather than me getting into the asset directly. Now, the next question was, which are those companies? So at least the investor was able to identify a theme, and it was our job to ensure that the theme was well represented by a number of stocks. So even if one or two stock goes wrong, the theme should not go wrong, because it will happen whenever a new theme comes, whenever a new trend comes, there will be casualties, because early adopters will always have to go through pain, right? There will
Correct.
always be one or two moonshots kind of thing which will achieve what they thought, but then it will be at the cost of a lot of other companies. Now the problem is that at the beginning I don't know that, nobody knows that, right? And that is why we would like to invest in that idea rather than one stock. So these are the kind of interesting themes which we kept on creating over a period of time. And people will come, they will select their theme, and of course they can invest with the broker of their choice. We even allowed customers or the investors to create their own themes, because we do not want to undermine the intelligence of anybody. It's not only me who can create themes, it's even you who can create themes. If you're a well-read guy, if you're qualified enough to identify opportunities, why not? So for us, it was all about allowing that participation to everybody. So this tool is available even to investors. You can just go on small case and say create a small case.
Correct.
Now, the moment you say create a small case, you can actually put down your own stocks. You can put down your own weightages. Definitely, I will show you how we do that. So there are two set of small cases. One, which are created by us just to give you a flavor of the platform. The second small cases can be created by you for your own self. And the third, which are very, very important, is they are created by professionals who are managing those small case on a day-to-day basis, so that you don't have to worry about the research part of it. You can just participate in those themes, because now you are rest assured that there is a professional manager who is taking care of that journey, right? Now, with this context, I'll just give you a very brief overview about small case as a platform. The reason why I want to share this is so that there is a trust which gets built on the platform, because we keep coming across a lot of startups. Of course, investing is very, very serious business, right? You will not like to ride on any
Correct.
startup which comes your way, right? So this is the kind of journey what we have already achieved so far, and I'm sure this is just the beginning. So this is the history what Narendra was talking
Yeah.
about here, that how in 2000, like we used to have physical demat, it evolved to demat and all that. How in 2010, then there were like branches and all that, but then we moved to digital and online. And how in 20 onwards, there have been like a lot of fund managers who have come up to serve investors, retail investors, and how smallcase has played a very important role in stitching all this together to give you a seamless experience. Again, smallcase is backed by leading institutions of the industry and globally. So we have investors like Mr. Nitin Kamath from Zerodha, Azim Premji, Amazon, HDFC Bank, to name a few. So they have been veterans in their own right, right? They understand this business in and out. I think it just shows the kind of conviction what these institutions have in our platform. And they have been very, very early believers, early adopters on our platform. And they have been continuing to be with us and invest with us as we speak. So what small case is? Basically, small case is a basket which we help you create, or which is created on the platform. And it consists of stocks, it consists of ETFs, it consists of REITs, and it consists of four things: stocks, ETFs, InvITs, and REITs. Now, not necessarily everything in every small case. It all depends from creator to creator. So if the creator feels that they want ETF also to be part of the small case along with stocks, they can do that. So ETF is nothing but you get exposure to some of the best set of companies via a ETF. ETF is the full form of ETF is exchange traded fund. Now, if somebody wants to invest in India's top 50 company, they can very well invest in a Nifty ETF.
Yeah.
Now, by investing in Nifty ETF, you get actually an exposure to 50 companies. Now, you need not buy 50 companies' shares in your demat account. So the whole idea is to get income and create wealth, right, with that theme. Now, there are a lot of investors who will like to diversify and not invest entire money into Nifty. So what they might do is they might invest, say, 50% in Nifty ETF, another 30% in junior Nifty ETF. So junior is nothing but the next 50 to 100 companies sitting below Nifty, right? And then we have gold ETF, and then we have, say, liquid ETF. Now, what liquid ETF is basically you are reserving cash for a day when there is an opportunity for you to invest at throwaway prices in the stock market. So you can even invest in a liquid base. Now, these are the kind of models which are available on our platform. Now, one of the very interesting model what we have is all-weather investing, where you can invest in all these 4 ETFs, and every quarter, based on the market conditions, it will be rebalanced by the professional manager for you, right? And with a single click, the rebalance will be done for you. So you don't have to worry what's happening in the markets. The rebalance is, so if the Nifty is going up beyond the threshold based on the philosophy of that small case, Nifty will be sold and liquid base will be bought, or gold will be bought, or whatever, depending on the numbers of those ETFs. And similarly for stock, so every manager or every creator will have their own theme. Somebody will have thematic small cases, somebody will ride on a major theme kind of thing, which will have sub themes. Like, for example, we can say digitization is a theme, but
Yeah.
now there could be a lot of sub themes under digitization, that, okay, how digitization is helping the infrastructure. So that's a sub theme. Now, one may call it an infrastructure theme, but then the manager has ensured that it is narrowed down to the digitization effect of on the infrastructure, right? So these are the kind of interesting themes which you may not get into other structures like mutual funds and all that, because they are too niche a theme, and a mutual fund or a portfolio management may not be able to create a fund on this theme because it's too niche. Like, for example, if you like a green energy, you cannot build a fund of green energy. You can buy 1 or 2 stocks in mutual fund. But on small case platform, you will actually get green energy ka small case where you can start investing as low as 1 lakh rupees.
Correct.
Right?
I find small case to be the only platform that really enables that, right? Like it resonates. Like, for example, if there is someone who has a very strong conviction, let's say, on e-vehicles, right? And so how would you invest? Like, I mean, if you're someone who is a normal investor, you might think, okay, okay, fine, Tata Motors, great, makes sense, because their EV cars are doing well. Or someone with little more thought might think, you know what, I hear that Excite Batteries is working on lithium ion batteries, maybe I'll invest in that. But if you use a small case, like the ones that you have on your platform, that cover the EV sector, then you realize there is so many things so many different kinds of stocks that you can invest, and they are all connected to the EV story. I think small case allows you to, double down on your conviction like that, and I don't think it's that easy with any other method.
Yeah, you're right, Nandan. So again, we will be covering some interesting small cases as well, just to share some examples. So till now, we have been fortunate to serve close to 8 million users till date as we speak. And cumulative amount of transactions which they have transacted on our platform is 50,000 crore plus. And of course, as I told you, there are so many different small cases, professional small cases one can choose from. Of course, there are a lot of filters based on which you can identify your preferred small case. The good thing is small case is a very broker neutral platform, so you need not open a new broking account. Your existing brokerage account will take care of everything. So we are integrated with 17 of the largest brokerages of the country, which takes care of 95% of the demat accounts of India. Now, even after this, if somebody tells me that, okay, I don't have any account in the 17 brokerages, then my humble request will be to open up an account, which should not take them more than 5-10 minutes. But yeah, these are the 17 brokers which we have on our platform. And as I told you, we already have like 150 plus professional managers who are creating portfolios. And of course, there are different shelf spaces where you will find this small cases in a different way. So there are some fintech platforms who will like to create their own small cases. There are brokers who will create their own small cases. You can create your own small cases, and of course there are professional managers who can create their own small cases. Depending where are you in the distribution piece, you will get access to those small cases, and nothing stops you to come on smallcase.com or smallcase app. Just log in with your broker account and your journey can start. And this I've already discussed. So the small case again is riding on all the advantages of what we just spoke about: equity investing, diversified, professionally managed, and of course there is a large catalog. So very easy to start, very user-friendly interface, taking into consideration how evolved we all are from a technology point of view. And of course, there is a lot of compliance which has been taken care of, because when it comes to money, there is a strong set of regulations by SEBI. At every step, we have to ensure that we cannot optimize the journey or user experience beyond a point, because nothing can happen at the cost of compliance. So I think one will have to appreciate if sometimes you feel, ye step ki I think that's the only thing which I will request everybody to live with, because compliance is good for all of us. The more compliant the platform or the managers or the whole ecosystem is, the more safe is your money, safe is your investment. So this is how our journey has been so far, and of course there is a future roadmap as well. So currently, as I told, we are empowering stocks, ETFs, REITs, InvITs. In future, of course, we will go ahead with mutual funds as well, global equities, bonds, and more as we speak, based on your feedback. So this is something which I have to share on small case. Of course, I will be sharing something, some examples of interesting small cases as well. So as I told you, this is like a huge industry globally, growing at like $10 trillion plus globally. Model portfolios. India is just beginning. This is even called direct indexing. It's more of a technical term which is being used by a lot of research guys globally. So yeah, this is something on the small case front of it, just to ensure that you relate to what we just spoke. More than happy to just share something. Maybe I'll
Yeah.
just open
Yeah, I
up.
think
Yeah.
if you can show our users exactly how the small case platform works, that'll be helpful.
Yeah.
And then maybe you can show us some of the more interesting small cases that you've seen.
Okay, so I show the first the how the small case is subscribed, or
Maybe we can start with showing off some of the interesting small
yeah,
cases.
yeah,
Maybe that'll be of interest.
sure. So I'm just sharing my screen. Mhm. Yeah. Okay, so this is the homepage of small cases. Is it visible, Narendra?
Yeah, I can see it.
Perfect. So you just have to click the discover button. Of course, there are all small cases and there are manager small cases. So I'll just go to manager small cases as well. And here you will find all the parameters based on which you can have your curated list of managers. So for example, if somebody tells me, okay, I want to do a small case investment based on asset allocation as a theme, which we just spoke, right? All
Yeah.
weather investing. So this is something which you can click, and these are the kind of managers which have asset allocation strategies under their forte. Now, if you say you want something on corporate governance, right? Now, there is this interesting small case called Lotus Do Wealth, for example. Now, they are creating a small case based on all the venture capital principles with a dash of corporate governance as the theme, right? So,
Interesting.
a lot of people might want to invest in startups and all that. But as I told, in startups, there is, of course, a challenge of liquidity and all that, right? Now, the startups which goes to the next level, they get listed and all that. So
Correct.
this manager is trying to capture those startups which has got into that listing zone, but with a VC lens and not with a public market investing lens, right? So
Interesting.
this small case is called listed venture capital, right? Very interesting small case, a good vintage of
Yeah.
4.5 years on our platform. If you see, like they have generated a CAGR of 50%. Again, not to say that this will happen in future, but this is something which they have already covered so far on our platform, right? Another interesting small case which comes to my mind is, say, 1 second, I'll just show that Niveshai. Yeah. This is something which we were talking about, right? Green energy. Now,
Mm.
this is the kind of green energy small case. Now, of course, once you subscribe to the small case, then you will be able to see the stock constituents and everything. I will
Yeah.
show how we will subscribe. But yeah, right now you can see the entire overview that what this small case will be investing into. Like they will be investing into solar panel installations, electric vehicle sales, kind of thing, ESG factors, renewable electricity like windmill and all that stuff, climate change, right? So these are the kind of themes which they are playing in this green energy. So these are like sub themes. Now you need not play only on solar. In green energy, you can play on 5 themes. Why not?
Yeah.
There was some more interesting thing which was the top of the town, and again it is playing out really well. Is China plus one, right? Everybody
Yeah.
must have heard about China plus one, right?
Our investors definitely have, because it's part of our thesis of why we are so bullish on warehousing. So
Yes.
yeah, definitely.
Right now, imagine there are so many companies who are participating and who are benefiting from this theme. Now, not every sector will participate in this theme, because when I say China plus one, it is not China plus India, it's China plus one. Now,
Correct.
in which sectors we are that plus one, this manager has to identify, and they are identifying it successfully, right? So in textiles, that plus one could be Bangladesh. In
Hmm.
some other sector, it could be Vietnam, but there are some sectors in which India is that plus one, right? Now, that is how you play on this theme. So if you are convinced about this theme, then it's time that you can explore this kind of small case. So this and many, so the kind of small case, like we have windmill capital. Now, this windmill capital is super interesting. You will find loads of themes here. Like, for example, all weather investing. This is a free small case. You don't have to pay any fees for this. You can straight away
Right.
invest. Now, here, because it's not a paid, you can see the constituents as well,
Correct.
right?
Correct.
I'm just
Uh,
not logged in, but
yeah.
I can log in maybe, and I can show you the constituents. So that's
Hmm.
that's one way of looking at things, right? So we have a lot of managers on our platform uh, who are doing some interesting work. They are all well reputed, managing tons of money otherwise as well in their other businesses. So we have Right Research, we have like Omniscience. Now, this is something very interesting, Narendra. I should share
Mhm.
this. Defense. Like nobody was talking about defense. Like
Yeah.
we came at a point, now we are exporting, imagine, in a
Yeah.
lot of sectors in defense,
Yeah,
right?
definitely. I remember when HAL was going through its IPO, and I think the IPO almost failed.
Yeah.
And it was LIC that came in at the last minute to save that IPO. And now look at that share. Yeah.
Yeah. Similarly, we have this bullet train theme. Like we are seeing so many Vande Bharats all around, so many metros happening and all that. Now, somebody has to participate. Somebody has to play on that theme, right? It cannot be just sitting on the railway budget day and playing on this theme. No, there is a
Mm.
throughout the year on which you can play. See the kind of returns they have generated, right, in the last 3 years. 72% CAGR, unheard of.
Yeah.
Again, I'm not saying this will be like forever, but somebody who had invested early on would have achieved this kind of results. And these are not like back-tested results. These are real results on our platform. The entire performance calculation is being controlled by us. So manager has no control whatsoever on this performance number and all that, right?
Yeah.
So this is how small case happens. So more than happy, maybe if you allow another, I will share the subscription journey, how
Sure.
one
Sure. We'll watch
explore.
that. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Is the screen visible?
Yeah, we can see it.
Yeah, hi everyone. Today I'll be walking you through the subscription flow of Renaissance Smallcase. So all you need to do is log into renaissanceadvisors.smallcase.com. You can see the fund manager name over here, and all the small cases are listed here. Now, for example, if you want to subscribe to Alpha Core and Satellite portfolio, all you need to do is click here and proceed to subscribe now. Once you subscribe now, the subscription flow will start. You will be requested to share your email ID. Once you share your email ID, you will be shared the plan that the small case manager has, which has an advance fee of 3688 and a monthly fee of 0.208%. So once you understand the advance fee plan, you can proceed to continue. Here, you need to add your PAN card. Once you enter your PAN card and your date of birth, click on continue. Our system will auto-fetch your name as it is mentioned in your PAN card. Then you need to mention your mobile number and the state you are in. For example, I'll select the state and click on continue. Now you will be requested to submit your risk profile. So we have a 6-question based risk profile, which asks how much of risk are you willing to take in this small case portfolio. So what is your investment objective? You can reply with your answer over here. Your annual income, how much of existing liabilities goes into bank payments and loans, what is your best outcome scenario for your investment, and how much of your total wealth are you planning to invest, and what are your current investment products that you're already invested in. Once you click on submit, your risk profiling will be completed. You can click on continue. So here it is saying it doesn't match your risk profile and you have a lower risk profile in the portfolio, but still you can proceed ahead and click on continue it anyway. Once this is done, all you need to do is select the broker account through which you want to subscribe to your small case. Please note that in future, you won't be able to change the broker that you have subscribed to. So please select a broker through which you'd like to execute all your trades. So I'm selecting my Grow broker over here. Once I select the broker, all you need to do is continue. The next process is you need to sign an investor advisor agreement with Renaissance Manager. So you need to click on continue. The agreement is being created right now. You need to click on proceed to e-sign and click on sign now. Here you will be requested for your Aadhaar number. So kindly enter your Aadhaar number. Once you enter your Aadhaar number, you will be requested to share an Aadhaar-based OTP to confirm the investor advisor agreement. Here the agreement is now signed. And once this is done, all you need to do is set up a bank account mandate. So click on bank account mandate. Here you will be asked to submit your bank name, your account number, your account type, and your customer name. For example, let me share. By your internet banking and click on submit. Here, you will be requested to create a bank mandate, which you need to click on agree and submit. Post this, you will be asked to submit your internet banking details. And once you confirm this eNASH mandate, you will be registered as a subscribed investor to Renaissance Small Case. I hope this explains the video. Do let us know in case of any doubts. Thank you for listening.
Yeah, so I'm sure that was helpful. So just to give some context, there are two types of small cases. One is the free small cases where it's a direct experience of investing, right? Now, the reason why we have a lot of free small cases is just to ensure that the investors get a flair of the platform to understand the entire small case environment more simply. And then, of course, as you evolve over a period of time, you can always explore the premium small cases, which are created by managers, where, of course, you have to pay a fee to the manager.
Definitely.
And the relationship between you and the broker is independent of the manager. So there is one set of process where you subscribe to a manager small case, you pay the advisory fees. The moment that journey is over, the stock constituents are in front of your screen. You don't have to type anything. You just have to write the amount you want to invest, and everything will be taken care of, and just say invest now. And
Right.
it will be executed through your broker, and all the shares will be into your demat account. Interestingly, whenever the manager does any changes in the portfolio, the same will be communicated to you either on WhatsApp or on push notification and an email, all three places. And again, with a single click, the rebalance will be done. So whatever stocks have to go out, they will go out. Whatever has to come in, they will come in. And last two things, Narendra, whenever you feel there is an opportunity in the market, markets are falling, and you are super bullish about the markets or convinced, you can simply top up more money on the same small case with a single click, invest more. And if you feel that you have a regular flow of income on cases, just like mutual funds, you can even set up an SIP in small cases. So these are some of the best practices which people follow on our platform. We have, as I told you, almost 8 million plus investors on our platform across this 17 brokerage houses. So yeah, this is something which I thought will be helpful for all Strata investors to explore.
Definitely.
Over to you, Narendra. More than happy to take all the questions.
Yeah, folks, you can start putting in your questions in. But before we jump in, Rakesh, maybe I'll just cover some of the more basic questions. Now, of course, the flow that we all saw was for subscribing to a paid a small case. However, when you're just signing up for a regular small case, there is no payment or agreement per se, right? You simply create your account. You still connect your Demat account, and after that, it just happens as is.
Yes.
Perfect.
Perfect.
Rakesh, what are the fees for using a small case, whether it is the free small case or the paid one?
Okay. So as we need to understand that what are the fees, right? The fees are being paid to the manager. Smallcase is a platform which is facilitating this entire journey of investing via advisory. Every manager will have their own set of fees, which are decided by the manager. Okay. So the fees can be anywhere as low as say 500 rupees per month to anywhere between like 1,000, 2,000 rupees per month, depending on the manager, right?
Right.
So every manager will have their own set of fees. So this is called fixed fees.
Mhm.
There are very few managers who even charges fees based on the investment amount. So they charge 2.5% per annum for the invested amount what you have, and the fees will be charged on a monthly basis to 2.5 divided by 12 into the invested amount. So these are the two type of methods, and that is the reason we take that mandate so that the fees can be debited to your bank account on a monthly basis. But
Right.
if it is a fixed fees, you pay upfront fees for 6 months, and after 6 months, the subscription will be auto renewed unless you unsubscribe.
Understood. And when you're using a free small case, is there any charge for using the
No,
platform? No,
no.
none. Got it.
So the relationship is between the broker and the client. Whatever brokerage is the client, the broker charges to the client is there. Of course, nothing changes there. There might be some fees which the broker charge to use platforms like smallcase. That is again between broker and the client. So smallcase per se doesn't charges anything, and
Got it.
every broker has a different set of brokerages and charges which the client has to be aware of.
Understood. Got it. Okay, I guess we will jump into the Q&A. I think Mr. P. Nagar, he's asking, subscribing to small case, what about NRIs? What option do we have?
Yeah.
That's a bigger question. Can NRIs first invest through small case, and how should they do that?
Sure. So NRI per se definitely can invest in small case. It's again very broker specific. So there are few brokers who usually do not allow NRIs to invest via platforms. They encourage NRIs to invest either on call or coming directly on their website. So except those few brokers, most of the brokers, they allow NRI investing via small case. So more than happy to share the list of the brokers which allows NRI investing. So Narendra, I can share that list with you separately. Maybe you can share it with
Sure.
the person.
Yeah, makes sense. I think Mr. Naveen, you had raised your hand. If you'd like, please just type in your question. And there's a question from Vikas, who prepares the account statements and tax advice with regards to multiple investments in small case?
Okay, this is very interesting question and very technical one, but I'm glad somebody asked this. So there are two parts to it, Vikas. One, the accounting of the small cases investment. So all the accounting will be happening on the small case platform itself. So whenever you buy a small case, we will be assigning a NAV to that small case. Now, what is the full form of NAV? Is net asset value, just like we have in mutual funds, and that NAV will be 100 rupees, just for simplicity purpose for yourself. Though you may have invested 5 lakh rupees, we will just show that value as 100 rupees on the day when you invest, and your journey will start from that 100 rupees. So say after 10 days, you just see your investment and it is 111 rupees, for example. So technically your 500 has grown by 11%. 5 lakh rupees have grown by 11%. So all that accounting nuances will be taken care by us. As far as the taxation thing is concerned, you will have to go on your broker website, and there they have customized reports of all taxation, all P&L reports and all that, which you can use for your income tax purposes. So all the long-term capital gains, short-term capital gains, speculation gains, all those reports are very, very readily available on most of the brokers what we have on our platform with a single click.
Right, because ultimately we are investing in a basket of listed equities, right?
Yeah.
So eventually it is in your Demat account and it's through your broker. So
Yes.
you would simply download the tax statements.
And one more thing, Narendra. So as you rightly said, right, not your entire money is invested in Strata or small case, right? There are so many other things also. So taxation is the totality of the thing, right? And that totality is sitting on the broker and not with me. So you must have bought one small case here, but you must have bought 100 Reliance separately somewhere on the broker.
Oh,
right?
yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
That is
So,
actually one of the questions that I had. Like, let's say I have personal investments in a stock,
yes.
and I have a small case, and that is now also investing in the same stock.
Right.
So when the small case exits that stock, right? Do we know which share is getting sold from the holdings, or is it random? So we don't know whether we're gonna incur LTCG or STCG
Yeah.
depending on,
So this is again a bit nuanced here. So we need to understand, see, shares, your currency notes are fungible, right? Your 500 rupee note and my 500 rupee note is same. You cannot say, okay, I want that particular 500 rupee note only. Now,
Yeah.
when a manager buys, say, Reliance in your
Mm.
small case, and you already have Reliance sitting in your demat account, the older ones, right?
Mm.
So say, let's take it an example. You have 100 shares of Reliance already in your portfolio demat account. Now, because you have subscribed to a manager who advises you to buy Reliance also as one of the stock in the portfolio and 20 shares. Now
Yeah.
your total stock in demat account is 120, right?
Correct.
Now, say after 2 months, the manager comes up and say, okay, we want to sell Reliance.
Mm.
Now the demat account doesn't know, boss, which are those 20, which are those 100. For it, it is 120.
Yeah.
It will just sell 20 shares. That's it. But now from income tax point of view, income tax considers FIFO method of accounting.
Mm.
Right? So in your case, though you have sold 20 shares only after 3 months and you will feel, okay, this is a short-term capital gains, the answer is no.
Mm.
That is the reason I told you have to pull out a report on broker's end, because there it will be considered as a long-term capital gain, because the 20 shares of the earlier bought one have been pulled out there. From
Right.
the
Right.
date point of view. Having
Right.
said that, on small case, you will get all the details of your investments, profits, loss, everything. That's not a problem. But yeah, for taxation purposes, it will not be a short-term capital gains in this example.
Understood. Understood. Mr. Nagar has another question. If are small case investors eligible for dividends from the underlying stocks?
Yeah. So small case is just a wrapper sitting on top of your stocks. Nothing takes away the ownership of your stocks. All the stocks are in your demat accounts. One thing very interesting to understand is small case doesn't touches your funds, doesn't touches your securities. Everything is lying in your demat account. So whatever you would get in normal course of your investing, you will get dividends there also. In fact, we even record the dividends also in our accounting so that you get a color that how much dividends you have got on this small cases and all that.
Correct. I think small case is best understood as simply a planning mechanism or a way to invest in a set of stocks. Ultimately, you're doing the same thing, whether, like in our example, whether we are buying Reliance by ourselves or whether we are investing in a small case that is making us buy the Reliance share. It's not the same as a mutual fund where you're buying the fund. You are still buying the stocks when you're investing through small case.
Yes.
Yeah.
At times, it might happen that something can be mismatched with the demat account. So anything, all the transactions which happen on small case platform only will be accounted by us, because we will never come to know whatever transactions you have done off the platform. Of course, you can later communicate to us, but that is not something a good practice which we will encourage. But yes, as an exception, we will definitely be happy to help if you have done some transactions outside the small case. Like for example, in the same example, you have bought the small case, everything is set. Now, one fine day, you feel I want to sell Reliance and you sell the entire 120 shares.
Yeah.
Now, this small case guy will never come to know that 20 shares are not there in the demat account now. Now, when I will try to sell this small case, it will show me an error that there are no shares in your demat account.
Correct.
Now, that is where you will have to communicate to us that, okay, I had sold it separately, please update.
Yeah, that reconciliation issue can happen. I think some of my friends who do use small case regularly, the hack that they do is they simply have a different demat account altogether for whatever they do on small case.
And you don't have to really now do anything manually. We have a holding recon tool on our platform itself.
Oh, wow.
Which will throw the exceptions that why there is no holdings in your demat account, which are the holdings which are not there. And then that you can update on an email to us, and our team will update it from the backend so that your small case look proper, refreshed, updated.
Understood. Vikas has a question. Is there a chance of over diversification if we end up with multiple baskets? I can think what he's asking is if I buy 4 different small cases and they all end up investing in the exact same stock, or I guess that's his idea. Or maybe his question is on the other side, that I'm spread too wide.
Yeah, sorry, I lost you for three,
Oh,
4 seconds.
sorry.
Yeah,
Vikas is
but
asking.
but
Yeah,
I
you
got the
got that.
question. I got the
Yeah,
question.
yeah.
So I think I had answered this question in my defined your asset allocation. Now, the moment you realize that, okay, I want to allocate, say, 50% to equities. Now, how you want to play that 50% is important and not disturbing the other 50%. So that is how you have cracked the diversification problem to a certain extent. Now, within this 50%, you can have your sub ranges. Okay, you say, I want to invest 30% in large cap, 10% in mid cap, and 10% in small cap. So you have to make a plan even for diversification, right? So you will not end up doing random things here and there, and you will still be controlled in a plan, which is fine, right? And within the small cap, then you can start finding interesting small cases in the small cap thing. In the mid cap thing, you can start finding interesting allocations. For large cap, you may say, okay, I don't want to invest in small case. I'm better off investing in a mutual fund or a Nifty. So at the end of the day, the idea here is to invest in equities. Right now, what we are discussing is the how part of it. The why part is already cracked. So I think the how is more a person to person approach. There is nothing like one size fits all approach here. And again, depending on your own risk appetite. But I don't think there would be a problem of diversification till the time your asset allocation is in check.
Right. So what you're saying is, okay, you have 5 different small cases, and now you've ended up with, let's say, 40 different stocks. But in your overall portfolio, it should not have exceeded the allocation for equities. And
So,
that's one way to look
yeah.
at it.
So in this example, like for example, you allocate 10% to small cap,
Hmm.
right? Now, even if you go wrong there, you are going wrong in that 10% universe. Like
Hmm.
for example, all the stocks hypothetically go down by 50%.
Right.
Your portfolio is moving only down by 5%,
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
right? Because your allocation is 10%. So the idea here is to control the allocation, and then within the allocation, I think you have that freedom to do some kind of adventures and all that, because you have taken care of the major problems out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mr. Dinesh has a question. I noticed a lot of small cases, which itself again needed a lot of time to spend. Can you share how to find the top 10 across different areas? Yeah, that is true. You have a lot of small cases these days.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So I think it's a very straightforward answer. I'll tell you again. First thing, we have to decide what we want and go in that direction rather than getting overwhelmed with so many choices, right? So this is a constant feedback which we have been getting. We are working towards it. In fact, at one point we had 270 managers, right?
Wow.
Today, as we speak, we have 150 managers, because that was a conscious effort based on the feedback that clients get overwhelmed and they end up doing nothing, right? For whatever
Mm,
reason. So the idea here is first decide, okay, now let's take an example. You have decided that I want to invest in themes, right? So you just go and say, I want to invest in themes. Now, suddenly, of those 500 small cases, you will only show up like 20 small cases. Now, that is some decision making which you will have to do. You cannot be taking your decisions based on what you see on the screen. You decide what you want to see, right? Now, you decide, okay, I want to invest in a mutual, a small case which has a minimum investment amount of, say, 1 lakh and below,
mhm.
right? There's no point in having a look at a small case which is telling you to invest minimum 5 lakh rupees,
Right.
right?
Right.
So there are different parameters. There are return parameters based on which you can sort the small cases. There are popularity parameters. There are themes parameters. So we are trying to build more parameters. Of course, the discovery mechanism, of course, can be a bit better. And like any other tech company, it's always evolving based on the client's feedback. But yeah, if there is very specific you have in mind, more than happy. You can always shoot an email on our email ID, and we will be more than happy to help you
Right.
the right decisions as well. We have a
But the
team.
filters are there, right? On the small case platform,
Of
you
course.
can filter by different concepts like ESG or
Yes,
small
yes.
cap. Is it also possible to check, for example, on which is the most subscribed small cases? Like this is the most popular.
Yeah. So if you see, if you go on our website, right, I'll just share the screen again,
Yeah, yeah,
maybe.
please do. I think that'll help. Yeah.
So 1 second. Okay. Now, if you go here, right, discover and
All small cases or
yeah. Now, when you go on all small cases, now you see here show all, free access and fee based. Now, this is the first step you need for curation. Now, the moment I say free access, all the other small cases will go away, right? Now, this all small cases are ready to invest. Then you can say, okay, I want any small cases which is under 25,000 rupees only. Now, all the other small cases go away. Now, here we have given a parameter. This is very interesting parameter, which is called volatility. Now, this is purely data backed based on the volatility this small case has experienced in the past. Now, if you say I'm okay with a medium volatility, okay, then you get only 2. Now, here the problem is solved. Now, you have no choices. You have only 2 small cases, but you say, okay, I'm okay with high volatility, right? Plus, now we don't include the new small cases by default because we want the new small cases to cover a journey of at least a year before we showcase them to investors, just like that. But of course, investors have a right to see those small cases if investor says, okay, include new small cases.
Wow.
Okay. By default, the reason why by default we keep this way, because even unknowingly, we would not encourage people to get into new small cases unless they know it.
Yeah.
Right. So this is one more parameter. And these are some interesting parameters, like, for example, as we discussed, corporate governance. Now, there are some small cases which will throw some good dividend at you on a yearly basis, the 3 to 4% yield, of course, with capital appreciation. Now, these are dividend portfolio, right? Now, in free access, we don't have dividend portfolio. Okay, here, these are the dividend portfolios, right? Now, see, you can see the CAGR, you can see the minimum investment amount, you can see the fees, like, for example, passive income investment. Now you can see all the plans. Now you can invest in this as low as 2,000 rupees. That doesn't mean you have to invest 2,000 rupees because your fees are also 1,700 rupees.
Yeah.
So technically you can invest 2 lakh rupees also here. The fees doesn't change here.
Yeah.
The reason why we are keeping low fees, low minimum investment is that amount should not be an entry barrier for a lot of interesting small cases. Right. To answer your question, Narendra, which are the popular? So the listing here, the order is always done in the order of popularity, and we keep on doing this on a monthly basis also to check that the order is in place. So there will be changes if required on a monthly basis to ensure that the order is in place.
Awesome.
These are some of our popular stock small case manager.
Right. I'll move to the next question by Nagar. Can I invest via my NRE account, or do I have to do it via my NRA account? Rakesh is still on mute though.
Yeah.
Sorry, now I can hear you.
Yeah. I missed that. Yeah.
The question was, can I invest by my NRE account? For an NRI, do they need to use an NRE account, or can they do it via an NRA
I think
account?
This is very broker specific, so I would not like to comment here. Yeah, but you can always check with your broker, or you can share the details on our email ID. We would be more than happy to and facilitate with the broker for you.
Understood. Mr. Vikas is asking, are fact sheets presented for every small case, just like in mutual funds, so that we can assess risk and return?
Yes, this is something very interesting. So let me show the real fact sheet for a moment here, and that you can see even without subscribing, because there are certain things which you have to see without subscribing, right? Before subscribing.
Definitely.
So here, if you go, this is the Green Energy small case managed by Nivesha, a portfolio of stocks. And here is the fact sheet, here is the methodology, and here is the blog. So if I click on this fact sheet, so here comes the fact sheet. Now, all the details, whatever you want, are available on this fact sheet. What is the universe of stocks in which they will invest? What is the research methodology? What are the constituents? What is the weightages? What is the P ratio? The same set of numbers what you see in a mutual fund portfolio as well. Right? So average PE of this portfolio is say 60. Now, somebody may feel that it's a very high PE and say, okay, I don't want to invest. Now, that's a decision somebody might take, right? But then there are other ratios which will say otherwise. No, okay, things are looking good, kind of thing. So, and this is the market capitalization spread, which one can have a look that, okay, there are like 96% are into small cap.
Yeah.
So, and this is the chart, which is a live chart based on the returns and based on the benchmark, how they have performed vis-a-vis the benchmark in which they are operating. And this is returns over various periods. And again, as I told, how to subscribe features and all that, whatever. So for every small case, you will find this auto-generated fact sheet, which is updated on a real-time basis every day.
But the only catch being that because the paid small cases, you don't get to see the holdings, in the stocks, the exact stocks.
That's the IP part of it. So yeah, but you will still get a lot of flair after reading this fact sheet.
You get the
That-
rationale and you get the idea
Of
effectively.
course,
Yeah.
of course, of course.
Fantastic. I think there are no more questions. Maybe we'll just wait for another few seconds if anybody's still typing.
Sure.
But if there are none, I want to thank you, Rakesh, for taking the time. Um, for coming on a Sunday and covering all these topics along with us. I think we got a very good understanding of effectively how things are changing and why thematic investment makes sense, especially because I think what you said was very interesting, that uh, the ones who are successful in equity markets, it's not that they're picking the right stocks, it's that they are investing in portfolios, they're investing in right ideas. And I think small case allows us to do that in our own way, right, regardless of how much money we have.
Sure.
So thank you so much. It was a pleasure having you.
Same here, Narendra. Really, thank you for this great opportunity to interact with your investors. More than happy to show up again
Of
whenever you
course.
call me and interact with investors.
Yeah, we will ask in our community maybe on what topic we should be discussing related to the equity markets, and then we will have you on that.
Yeah, we can even have some fund managers on the platform who can
Sure.
deep dive into their research and the way they process things and all that, right?
Yeah.
So just one of the examples, Niveshai. Now we can have the fund manager of Niveshai who can come down and explain in detail what exactly they do, how they do, and all that.
Sounds good. Sounds good. Well, thank you so much, Rakesh. And with that, everyone, thank you so much for joining us. And we will see you next time. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Narendra. Take care.